Hello everyone, watch this review here where they look at the Marvel Universe World War Hulk. Probably one of the figures I was more excited for, but unfortunately was not able to find him in stores, so I ended up picking him up for 10 bucks off Big Bad Toy Store. The price isn't so much an issue just because with Marvel Universe, it's gradually getting to the $10 mark anyway. A bigger problem with buying online is just the fact you don't know what condition the actual figure will be inside the box, and it looks like the wrist might be a little messed up here, but hold on a second, I'll open this up and we'll figure that one out. First off, a word of warning if you're thinking of picking this figure up. Now the figure is packaged like this in the blister with the axe coming in through the back. You can't pull the figure straight out because the axe won't pull out that way, and you could possibly break the axe. You'll probably realize what you're doing before it actually snaps, but just be careful. Now, as for the figure itself, I'm not sure if it's just mine or not, but he's got a lot of disjointed parts here where there's like a gap or separation between the one piece and the next. It's not as noticeable, but when you're holding it up and you're looking at it, from some angles you can see the actual peg and stuff. I can't help but think it's probably just due to how they package the damn thing, whereas they usually toss those little stupid rubber band elastic-y thingies, which actually I had a lot of trouble getting it out because I guess it kind of got stuck along the waist, and that took some doing. But yeah, other than that, this is a really neat figure. It's probably the coolest item that's been done so far for the Marvel Universe line. The bar has actually been going up quite a bit lately. The one downside is, well, actually there could be several downsides to this figure, but let's start by doing a quick comparison. Next to the Hulk is the Marvel Universe Juggernaut, an excellent figure in its own right, which I basically brought in to show you that the World War Hulk does appear to at least mostly be a new sculpt. They might have recycled a part here or there. First off, if you look at the torso area, the upper torso goes down a lot further on the sides, sort of to like the rib area, which, is a much nicer look and a better touch than the Juggernauts here, where the whole part just goes across. Interestingly enough, they chose to go with this option for the upcoming Apocalypse as opposed to, the more natural looking one used for the Hulk. I'm not sure what the consideration was there, but, Now, when I say, it might be recycled, might not be recycled, there are some parts in the figure where, like over here at the bicep and at the shoulder, where it looks like it might possibly be the exact same sculpt, but they just added some little carvings in there and etchings to give the skin a nice textured look. Now, it's possible they also recycled up here at the hip, and, maybe even the ab area, but that I'm really not sure about. It might not have been recycled, though. It's really hard to tell just because of the different torso sculpts, but there are a lot of new parts in this. Entirely new hands, new arm, the additional straps and stuff here, legs obviously completely new. There's no way they could ever repeat that either unless they had a really, really bulky Hercules maybe, but they probably won't do that. But yeah, lots of new parts, which is always good news. In addition, he also has some brand new weapons here. He's got a sword, an axe, and a shield. I really don't like the texture for the paint used on the shield. It just looks too plasticky. It really looks off with the figure too, where it's got all this paint and, it's a good texturing, but the shield, in fact, all the weapons just really could have gone with a different wash of brown and maybe some shadowing. They all look a little bit off when you compare them to this, really well painted figure. As you'll see, looks like it's just a straight green color, and then they washed over it with little black areas for shadowing, which sort of sinks into the etches there to give it a decent look. Hold on a second. I wanted to take the shoulder strap off just so you can get a better look here. But I mean, it's just a really great shade of green, and then the whole effect with the shadowing just works out really well here. Now the loincloth obviously doesn't have as much paint texturing. Kind of weird, but hey, whatever. I mean, the rest of him does look really awesome. And even the head sculpt is pretty decent here. It's, you know, got a definite rugged look to him. He definitely looks like he's ready to kick some ass, and, you know, that he did. That he did. Now, Hulk's biggest flaw that everybody points out is the fact that he really can't hold his weapons all that well, which honestly is just a really stupid design thing, because you'd think they would have done something, either made the handles a bit broader, or, you know, just had him hold it a little bit closer when he's clenching his fingers there. Interestingly enough, though, you can fit the axe in pretty well if you just keep it right towards the tip, because it's a little bit thicker and it just kind of wedges in there, so it won't flop around or anything, and it does hold the pose. But the sword is a complete write-off. You can't really do anything with it, which is a damn shame, because the sword is the cooler of the two accessories, but it's just really way too small for his hand. So you can't really get overhand sword strikes or underhand sword strikes, or, you know, any really decent sword strikes, although you will get him into some poses where he does look to be holding the sword, but again, he's really not holding that sword all that well. In terms of articulation, also to the earlier point about the joint separation, I think it's more of a tendency among larger figures to do that, but I mean, I think it's probably just the way that they package the things, which is really annoying. But yeah, we have a point of rotation here at the wrist. Now both arms have the same articulation, they just look a little bit different because of the sculpt, which, you know, is pretty neat. We have a ball and socket. No, wait. Thought we had a ball and socket, but no, it's just a single hinge joint. We have a point of rotation here at the bicep. Shoulder has the usual range of motion. Despite the fact that you have all this extra paneling here, there's really no impediment that I can see. Now, on the other hand, you know, this little wrist strap here thing is actually a loose piece of plastic, but due to the way that the arm is sculpted, it really stays in place pretty well, as opposed to other figures which have had loose parts which kind of flop around. Now the head will rotate side to side. It feels like it goes up and down a little bit, but it doesn't really do it that much. Now, although it looks like the neck is actually on a separate joint here, it's not, as far as I can tell. They just decided to give the character more of a neck. You'll see there's a big separation there. Upper torso has a full range of motion, has an up-down as well. Pretty cool. Waist also moves, which you don't see on all of them. Again, it's a nice touch. Only problem is, when you're trying to do that, the loincloth or whatever occasionally gets in the way. Now the hip / leg has the same kind of joint as the Juggernauts and the other larger ones, where it's, you can move the leg around and then you have to move the upper thigh like that to get the leg to really go in the exact direction you want it to. Hold on a second. Oh, there it goes. But yes, it's on a physical ball, so how very instructional. And that's the first time it happened. Right when I'm filming. Double jointed knee here. And then at the ankle we have a point of rotation. First it looked like it would also go up and down, but it is not. Kind of disappointing. Yeah, you get a pretty wide range of motion there. I should mention that the shield clips onto his arm here. Also, when you saw me remove the upper part, you just pull out his arm and then slide that over the head. Because it must go on this side. Yeah, well, it goes probably go on the other side, but it clips in like that with that part over here. Now, because the sword is really thin, I'm not sure if it's gonna be like this on all of them, but it seems to be slightly curved to one side, which means you can only really slide into the sheath one way without getting like some significant resistance here. I'm not sure if part of that's also just the sculpt of the sheath or whatever. I mean, all in all, very awesome figure. If I do see these at retail, I'll probably pick up like maybe at least one more. You know, because it's something I really like having around. Although the figure may have a problem or two, such as the whole how he holds the weapons, you know, it's still just a really great design, decent sculpt, strong paint job, and quite possibly the best thing that Marvel Universe has done to date, if you overlook the Galactus, which again is pretty impressive, but you really can't compare the two at all. I mean, if anything, you know, the only real flaws I see with this, besides the hand, are just the fact that they should have done some additional paint work here on the accessories, especially this really silly plastic sheath. But, you know, it is a really, really nice effort right down to the wide array of color use for the metal here. But yeah, until next time, this has been a look at the Marvel Universe World War Hulk. See ya.